Hi, wonderful, beautiful people. I've been asked to talk about the vital body. The simple answer is that the vitality or the vital body is the way we transmute the outer mundane world to the inner world, and back again. So the senses, the sight, the ears, everything else, of how we receive the signal and internalize it is one direction of the vital body, and the other direction is how we externalize that, which is again through the nerves and and our actions. But to really understand it, we need to go to the source. And to help, I've got a handy paint stirring stick here. This is an indication of the one. If we can see the whole stick. One is a line with two ends, and in the origin of the void, we have a rounded end here to indicate the void. If there is a void, then the void must be one, so we have something else at the other end, the one. And you can't take them apart. You can't take the one away from the void. If you ask what is the one, you have to answer the question what is not the one, and of course that's the void. So they're bound, the two ends are bound together by the straightness of the stick, and so we've got two things to start with, the void and the one, the thing that binds them together, the continuity, and the difference, the length of the stick in this case, that separates them, because the one and the void are different things, they're different. And then the whole stick is the fifth element, all five together. It's got both ends, it's got the straightness, and it's got the distance. So a stick is really a very simple example of the totality. Now we'll go into linguistics for a little minute. An old word for a stick was a verge. It originally means twig, and the root can be seen in the word verdant, as in growing, and the French word vert for green growing things, and the word verge diverges into also the word furrow, being a straight line, and it really means, verge means anything straight. And we got it was used for all sorts of straight things at one time, especially sticks and rods and staffs, and one who carries the verge is a verger. And of course it was also used for the male member being an upright stick, and it's not very clear which verge the verger is carrying. And of course we also have the virgin, who is the unploughed furrow, or being unrodded. Now the word verge, if we look at it in the one-tongue language, the V sound is the initial nature of duality. The sound is the relationship with its greater context, and the J sound is symbolized by, interestingly, Pythagoras' theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which in my case means that the sum of two cycles equals another cycle. So we have duality interacting with its context, creating a larger cycle of activity. And that's the word verge. And we also have, if we take the V off the beginning, we have urge, which is the impulse to action. So this idea of interacting with the environment to create ultimately what we perceive as change is vitality. It's the manifestation of energy. Linguistics again. Verge also translates to perch. Verge goes to purge and perch. So a perch is a rod, is a pole, is a unit of measurement 5.5 yards long. It's the length of the stick that a ploughman used to use to be able to tap the oxen on the back when he is towing his plough. And as they had the stick, they also used it for measuring out the acreage. So 160 square perches equals 1 acre, and you can measure it with your perch stick that you use when you're ploughing. So we have the stick being used as a scale of measurement, and of course you can also divide the stick into different scales and balance the stick. Stick a notch in the middle and balance the stick, and you've got a balance, which is a scale, the balancing scale. And the outside, the edges of an object are its scales, the scale on the surface of an object and the scale on a fish. So is that the end of the linguistic stuff? I think so. So if we go back to the root, the origin of the duality is A does not equal B, which is interpreted as for every thing there is that is A, there is always something else, B, that is not the same thing as A. In the case of the stick, for every end here there's another end that's not the same end, and it's not the same stick when you turn it round. That, of course, the rod, pole and perch, a pole, of course, perch being for Polly Parrot to sit on the perch, and a pole being a stick has two polarized ends. So polarity, duality is all tied up with the nature of the stick. And because there are two ends, because there's always duality, there is always an impulse to change, because everything is unique. So if you have one thing, it can never stay the same thing, it has to change to something else. There is always variety in everything. So that creates a constant change, and that is the source of what we know as energy. And since even infinity is limited, which I've covered elsewhere, but particularly our own perspective of reality is limited, everything must change constantly within limits, and what happens when you get to the end, you've got to come back again. So everything must change, which goes backwards and forwards, and obviously going this way isn't the same way as going that way, getting richer isn't the same as getting poorer, so it's best to symbolise that as a circle. So all change is ultimately cyclic, and where was I going with that? Change and cycles, and yes, because of the cycles we then have resonance, and there we have the source of light and sound and laughter, and all vibrations in fact come from these facts that all change must be cyclic and hence ultimately resonant. And we take that a little bit further, resonance creates a pattern, and it is the pattern that we recognise as the meaning of things. When we know where something fits into the pattern, we know what it means. If we don't know where it fits in the pattern, we don't know what it means. So the totality of our consciousness of actually being aware of something is the fact that we and everything else is the pattern of the rhythm of the cycles of change of existence. And so, dropping back to the polarity, because everything is unique, there must be change, and that fact is what generates what we perceive as energy or vitality. And because we're really talking about the quintessence, we're talking about five things, and in this case we're talking about the yellow vital finger, which in palmistry is the ego finger, the controlling finger. You will do what you're told. It's the energetic finger, and applies to energy in general. You can think of the vital body as being your chi body, your immediate aura, because chi is the ultimate source of all energy we have. Where else can we go with this? Chi, vital body. In terms of the physical nature of the vital body, because we've got the five bodies, but each body has five natures, so we can have the physical nature of the vital body would be all the nerves and the connections and the chemistry of how that works. The vital nature of the vital body, the dualistic nature, is this incoming and outgoing signal of us relating to the apparent outside duality. The vital body relating to the mental body gives you the dualistic and polarized nature of thought, and particularly of logic, that with logic either we're internalizing or externalizing, that is, we're either analyzing, taking something apart into smaller and smaller bits, looking deep down inside it, or we're externalizing and creating analogies, going bigger and bigger and larger groups of things. And both analogy in its ultimate sense ends at the one, and analysis also at its ultimate sense ends at the one. So the whole thing is cyclic. Analogy and analysis both come to the same point of the one. So the source of reality is also the ground of reality. What other natures of the vital body can we have? Oh, we've done of course, the emotional nature of the vital body. There are emotions. Now, emotions can just be experienced, but passions, where the emotions relate to the vital body, they become passions. They become urges to act, and we also receive passionate emotions from others. We're aware of them through the senses and through our connection to the vital body. And finally, the vital body relating to the spiritual body is the polarity between this physical experience, the whole vehicle, all 5 bodies of it, through the witness to the higher self. So that's our ultimate polarity. Where else were we going with this? I think I've covered most bits for now. I've probably confused you enough, but so I was saying that because I've split the whole of the universe into 5 individual parts, obviously you look at any one part like this and it applies to 1/5 of the entire universe. So vitality covers a whole range of things. In physical terms, we can see vitality as forces, energetic forces. So we've got the 2 atomic forces, electromagnetic forces, gravitation, and the ultimate chi force, which is the source of all of them. Are we done? I think so. My magic wand, well, of course, there's synchronistically, the magic wand is a symbol of the duality itself, and as you can see, can be used to understand all sorts of things. A little known fact: many of the magic wands in the past, it's not so good with a little stick, but if you have a big stick and you balance it thus on your hand, the end wiggles around, and you can use it just in the same way as you can a pendulum. You can balance the stick and watch the way the end moves, and interpret it in just the same way as you do when you're interpreting a pendulum. So sticks and staffs were used as divination for making decisions, for finding water, for finding ley lines, of course, because ley lines are part of the vital realm, and sticks and pendulums and such are very good for locating ley lines until you get used to feeling the ley lines, and then you can feel what it's like to cross a ley line, and you can identify where they are, which way the energy is flowing, and such like that. So this is the meanderings of DEC Unleashed, and I bid you all goodbye and much love.